What if you could give your brain a massive upgrade, like both hardware and software, in just 3 weeks? Nope, not some crazy future tech. We're talking about a total transformation that's powered by one simple change: ditching the sugar. So, are you ready to see what your brain's actually capable of? Let's dive in.
So, just how big of an upgrade are we really talking about here? Well, there's this fascinating study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism that looked at this exact question. And honestly, the results are pretty mind-blowing.
Get this. In just 3 weeks on a low-sugar diet, people saw a 22% increase in blood flow to their brain. Just let that sink in for a second. 22%. That's like going from a bumpy country road to a 6-lane superhighway for all the nutrients and oxygen your brain cells are screaming for. This is not a small tweak, folks. It's a massive performance boost for your focus and clarity.
But wait, it gets even better. They also saw a 47% increase in something called BDNF. Think of BDNF as, well, it's basically miracle grow for your brain. It's the protein that helps you grow new neurons, repair damage, and build new connections. It's even considered a natural antidepressant. A nearly 50% boost in just 21 days, that is a serious software update.
So yeah, we're looking at a real, measurable upgrade to your brain's most important functions in a ridiculously short amount of time. And believe it or not, that's just the beginning. To really get it, let's take a look at what's happening inside your brain right now when it's chugging along on sugar.
So we've seen the incredible potential, right? But to truly appreciate what an upgrade feels like, we gotta understand the system it's replacing. That default operating system that, for so many of us, is running on sugar. This is the before picture. This is the state that so many of us just accept as normal without ever realizing there's a much, much better way to feel. So does any of this sound familiar to you? That feeling like you're walking through a constant brain fog? Or finding yourself getting irritable for basically no reason? Or maybe you struggle with getting good sleep and you're just exhausted all the time. Or you live with this constant low-level hum of anxiety. Oh, and here's a big one. Feeling hungry like an hour after you just ate a meal. These aren't just random quirks of your personality. They're direct symptoms of a brain running on a really volatile and inefficient fuel.
So what's actually going on under the hood? Well, a lot of it comes down to something called insulin resistance. See, when you're constantly flooding your system with sugar, your brain cells start to ignore it. It's kind of like a parent just tuning out a screaming toddler. And the really tragic irony here is that even with all this sugar floating around, your brain cells can literally start to starve for fuel. But you know, there's an even deeper problem going on here. A hidden issue that connects all of these dots. It's a missing piece that your brain absolutely needs to actually use its fuel. Okay, here's the key. To process all that sugar, your body burns through its supply of vitamin B1, which is also known as thiamine. And when you start running low on B1, things start to go really, really wrong, especially in your brain and your nervous system.
I absolutely love this analogy from the source material. Think of your brain cells like a car engine, right? Sugar is the gasoline, but if you don't have a spark plug, that fuel can't ignite. It just floods the engine, creating all these toxic byproducts instead of clean energy. Well, vitamin B1, that is your brain's essential spark plug.
And here's what that actually looks like. On the left, you've got a flooded engine, way too much sugar, no B1 spark plug, and just this buildup of sludge that causes brain fog and fatigue. But on the right, you've got a clean engine, where the fuel is burned efficiently, creating this powerful, stable energy. And the symptoms of a B1 deficiency are really surprising and diverse. We're talking about things you'd probably never connect to your diet. Things like air hunger, where you feel like you just can't get a deep, satisfying breath, or feeling dizzy when you stand up, even bladder issues, or a super low tolerance for stress. It might not be a personality flaw at all. It could just be a simple nutrient deficiency.
So, if sugar is this dirty, inefficient fuel that's basically breaking the engine, what's the solution? Well, it's all about switching to the fuel source your brain was actually designed to run on in the first place.
I mean, we've all been told our brains need sugar, right? But the source material for this explainer argues that's just not true. For most of human history, sugar was incredibly rare. Our brains evolved to run on this super efficient backup fuel that's made from fat, ketones. It was a survival mechanism. But it turns out this backup fuel is actually the premium, high-octane stuff.
And let's be super clear here. This does not mean you can never eat a carbohydrate again. The goal to get this switch started is to bring your daily carb intake under 50 grams. And you want to get those from whole food sources like vegetables, not processed junk.
That is a very achievable target for most people.
Okay, so you decide to make the switch. What actually happens? Let's walk through the timeline, week by week.
So, in week 1, the very first thing you'll probably notice is that those relentless cravings and that constant hunger, they just start to fade away. A mental clarity that you may not have felt in years starts to creep in. Then, by week 2, your energy levels just surge. Your sleep gets deeper, your digestion improves, and inflammation in your body starts to calm down. Your mood starts to stabilize into this new, calmer default setting.
By the end of week 3, this is when everything really clicks into place. This is when that 22% increase in blood flow and that 47% boost in BDNF really come online. Your thinking is sharper, your mood is elevated, anxiety can just lift, and your appetite is finally under your control, not the other way around.
So here's the bottom line. On one side, you've got the brain on sugar. Anxious, foggy, tired, and always craving the next hit. And on the other side, you've got the brain on ketones. Calm, sharp, energized, and in control. This right here, this is the upgrade we were talking about from the very beginning.
And that just leaves us with one last thought. If the conventional wisdom about our brain's most basic need, its fuel, is completely wrong, it kind of forces us to ask a much bigger question, doesn't it? What other things that we just accept as a normal part of modern life are actually holding our brains back from their true potential?